Hey there, Smooth AD Robles here. It's been a long time since we did a smooth video like this, and I figured it was the appropriate time. You know, there's been a lot of very serious things that have happened in the last few months, and yesterday's video was just really serious, and so I figured we'd lighten the mood a little bit and just have a little fun. Yeah, you can just have a little fun with me. We're gonna play a game, and we're gonna use a video from my friend Woke Preacher Clips. If you go to gab.com right now and search Woke Preacher Clips, you will find this fantastic channel. And I think that you should definitely give this guy a follow. He posts all these short videos about various crazy things that woke preachers say. And here he has a supercut of the most fantastical, the most unverified, the most shocking stories of racism that you will ever hear. And I think we should play a game. Now, there's a number of stories here that the various woke pastors tell, and I think that there's a mix here. I think that there's a mix. Some of these stories I think are real, and some of these stories are Kyle Howard-like fabrications. If you remember Kyle Howard, he's the guy who claims to be an ex-Crip, or maybe it's a Blood, I can't remember. It's either a Blood or a Crip. He used to be in the Bloods or the Crips, and yet he is scared of every white person that moves. It doesn't matter how old, elderly, girly, it doesn't matter. He's terrified of them. But yet he used to be a Blood or a Crip. That's a fantastical story. He makes up a lot of stuff, and so I figured we'd have a little fun here, and we decide which ones of these stories are most likely to be true, and which stories are most likely fantastical, unverified fabrications. Let's just have a little fun here. We'll go through them, and then as you see them, just comment in the comment sections below if you think this story actually happened. Let's start off with the great David Platt, and we'll go from there. I hope you have a smooth time, baby. All right.
About the time I was in middle school, one of our neighbors put up their house for sale, and a black family bought it.
That brother said a black family bought it. He lowered his voice. He was like, a black family bought it. Am I allowed to even say that? Am I allowed to say that, black family? He said, this is going to be good, baby. I wonder what happened when the black family bought the house in the neighborhood.
And the word got around that housing value was going to plummet as a result. And people started moving.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, we started off with a bang. We sure did. Now, I think I'm going to surprise some people here. I think I'm going to surprise some people. This is a montage called That Totally Happened. You know, obviously making a joke like, obviously, that didn't happen. But I don't know. I believe that this actually happened. One of the things I've come to learn about the pastors in the woke church movement is they often will talk about how racist white people are. And I've learned over time, I just believe them. I think they probably are racist, and so, you know, I'm not going to deny it. I think that this probably did happen. I bet you he lived in a very racist neighborhood, and he knew all his friends were racist, and his family may or may not have been racist, and they all moved out of the neighborhood once a black family bought the house. So I believe this story. But here's my problem with this. Like a very believable story, in my opinion. You know, the property value was going to plummet, so they all started skedaddling. But don't put that on us, baby. That's not every neighborhood. That's not every neighbor. I could speak from experience. I used to live in a nice little town in Connecticut called Marlborough. Marlborough, yeah, that's right. And at the time when I lived there was very few minorities in the entire town. In fact, there was only like 4 or 5 black families and maybe 1 or 2 Latino families, and it just so happened that most of them lived in the same neighborhood. It was a very nice neighborhood, and it was the neighborhood I lived in. And, you know, nobody moved out. I mean, well, people did move out, but it was, you know, normal rates of moving. It wasn't anything crazy. We had lots of white friends. We got along with everybody. It was a very lovely, diverse neighborhood in Connecticut. And so don't put that kind of voodoo on us, baby. Maybe you lived in a racist KKK Klan neighborhood, David Platt. I have no reason to deny that you lived in a Klan neighborhood, but that's not everybody. Let's not pretend like I gotta be responsible all of a sudden for your friend's racism. That's one of my big problems with a lot of the woke church movement. Anyway, so one story, I believe it. I believe the first story. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see if I believe this story as well.
I know of a black pastor who lost his job as a pastor in a much more predominantly white church because he tried to give voice to the injustice that was going on, and as a result, they fired him.
No. I don't believe that for a second. A lot of people, what they say is, you fired me for speaking about justice, when in reality what they did was they fired you because they realized that you were a heretic. Like, you started saying some other stuff about the Bible that's not true, so you got fired for that. But then they'll be like, well, I'm a martyr, baby. You see, they fired me because I was talking about justice. No, they fired you because you said kill Whitey. That's very different, my friend. Very, very different.
And then after Trump looked at the camera and said, Proud Boys, stand back, stand by, he knew he was in trouble, and he woke up the next morning with 3 trucks parked outside of his house with white men standing with their arms crossed, waiting for him to come out. Can you imagine the trauma he felt in that moment? It infuriates me that that's the life he has to live.
And I was asked.
He looked furious. He was infuriated him. It's infuriating. Listen, I'll tell you right now, that would be traumatic. Imagine if you woke up one day and there were three white, well, not even 3 white people, 3 trucks full of white people, and they were all standing in front of your house like this. They were just standing there like this. Man, that would be very troubling. I would be very traumatized. Now, I don't believe that story for a moment, but I would be very He said 3 trucks full of white guys just standing there like this. He's infuriated. If that was real, I'd be terrified, but there's no way that's real. I mean, he's trying to say that he said that the Proud Boys got to stand by, or whatever, stand up, stand by. And all of a sudden, magically, that was like the magic word, stand up and stand by. And all of a sudden, 3 trucks full of white people appeared. And they're traumatizing everybody. That might have been Kyle Howard. I wonder if he heard that story from Kyle Howard. Because he even used the word trauma. That's one of Kyle Howard's favorite words, trauma. And if he did hear it from Kyle Howard, then it's almost guaranteed to be a made-up story. There's just no way. There's no way that 3 trucks full of white guys magically appeared when Trump said, Proud Boys, stand back. Like, doesn't make any sense at all. But, well, that's the story that we're being told here. That's fantastic. That is definitely fantastical, definitely unverified, and definitely shocking. But I don't believe it for a second. So we've got 1 real story and then 1, maybe 2. That counts as 2 completely fabricated stories. No way, no parts of those stories are even remotely accurate. In my opinion, baby. All right.
Various pastors of why, if you know the Bible says multi-ethnic church because of the work of Christ, why not in your area that is diverse? I had a white pastor say, well, Derwin, I know what you're saying is true, but I think dads would be afraid that their daughters would marry black men.
One professor at
That is very troubling. I mean, it's very fearful. It's a very fearful thing to allow too many black people into your church because all the dads in your church are going to be worried that their daughters will marry black guys. I mean, it makes perfect sense, Derwin. Oh, man. There's no way that story is accurate. None. And even if it were accurate, though, because this is the thing, I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility for fathers to be worried that their daughters would marry black guys. That's not, I believe that some fathers are worried about that. I think that's true. That has the ring of truth to it. What does not have the ring of truth to it is a pastor that Derwin Gray is friends with would say, hey, Derwin, I know the Bible says that you should have a multi-ethnic church, but what about these fathers? These fathers are really worried that their daughters will marry black guys, so I can't do it. God's going to have to take a rain check on this and wait until a time when these fathers aren't worried. I just don't believe that for 1 second, that a pastor said that. Now, is it possible? I suppose it's possible, but I don't believe it, Derwin. I think this is a fake story. If you notice, like, when you tell these crazy, fantastical stories, there's never any details. If there were details, see, there would be no reason to not have details here because we got to be exposing evil, baby. We got to expose the racists that are among us. But for some reason, these kinds of stories never have any details. It's almost like the people don't have names. It's almost like the people don't exist. They're completely figments of their imagination. I don't believe this story for a second. Listen, Derwin. if you want to tell me what pastor said this to you, I will confront him directly, baby, because we got to name names here. We've got to purge the evil from amongst our ranks, and the only way to do that, my friend, is not to tell crazy, nameless, faceless stories behind people's backs. No, we got to confront it head on. The Bible requires it. So I would challenge Derwin to tell us who did this. Tell us who said that. I know God says something, but whatever, the fathers are going to be worried. I don't believe that story for a second. So that's 3 false stories. Why do they never have names? They just never have names. I just don't get that.
Evangelical seminary, the professor in the school will go unnamed.
Eric Mason makes no bones about. He will go unnamed. I will never name him. Why won't you name him, Eric? What will be the problem with naming him? Well, I don't know. What would he say? What would he say? What's the reason he can't name the guy? I just don't. I'm not inclined to believe these stories where there's just people that are unnamed. And it's like, and he strongly is implying here that he knows the name. Like, it's not like it's just a story he heard. He knows exactly who it was who supposedly said what's about to be said. I'm willing to bet that whatever follows here, I am not going to believe. And I'll admit it's partially because there's going to be no name, but I bet you there's going to be a wild story. Let's find out.
Raised his hand in class because he kept hearing white theologian after white theologian after white theologian after white theologian, and he asked the professor the question. He said, "Prof, have black people in any form, shape, or fashion, or people of color, contributed anything to theology?" And he said, put his hand over his
I see where this is going.
mouth, and he kind of stroked his chin, and he looked up, leaned over his platform, and said, "You guys can really sing."
And an instant.
Nope. No way. I can't even be in character for that one, baby. No way. That did not happen. I thought I knew where that was going, but I definitely didn't at the time when I first saw that. It's still funny, man. It's still funny the second time you see it. I thought the prof was going to just say, no, black people and Latinos, they haven't really added anything to theology. No, he didn't even say no. He said, you people can really sing. He even said you people. He said, you people can really sing. There's no way that he said that, man. He will remain nameless because it didn't happen. There's no name for this person. He's just his prof is his name. Hey, prof. Did black people contribute to theology? You guys can really sing. There's no way that happened. Oh, man. This is good. This is good stuff from Woke Preacher Clip. The first one, I believe it. I believe the first story. But everyone since then has been worse than the last. We got 2 more. Let's listen to the rest of them.
My 4th grade teacher came across the room. She grabbed him by the front of his shirt, picked him up, threw him against the chalkboard, and in front of our whole class said to him, and forgive me, I'm going to quote her, "Why don't you wipe that nigger smile off your face?"
That brother said the N-word. Someone needs to cancel Greg Thompson, man. You can't be saying the N-word. That's not right. That's not right. My channel's going to get striked for that. I got to bleep that out, baby. You can't be saying that on the AD Robles YouTube channel. You will not get away with this. This brother said a teacher assaulted a kid. The teacher assaulted the kid, put him up on the chalkboard, and then said the N-word to him. I bet you that teacher remained nameless. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe that did happen though. I don't know. Maybe he grew up in like a Klan area. You know what I mean? I actually believe that story. I believe that story. I don't think he would have said the N-word. I don't think he would have said the full N-word if the story didn't happen. I think he would have said N-word. You know what I mean? Like he wouldn't have used the hard R. You can't get away with that, Craig. Man, he got that hard R at the end. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't say that word with If you're gonna use it, you gotta use You know what I mean? You can't do that. The hard R's and there's no go, Greg Thompson. But I believe that story actually. I think that actually happened. I don't think he would have said the word if it didn't happen. So Greg Thompson, that's a pretty wild story, but I believe it. So I believe David Platt, and I believe Greg Thompson. I definitely do not believe Jeff Vanderschmook, Derwin Gray, and Eric Mason. Definitely not. Now, the next person is Phil Johnson. And I gotta say, I probably don't believe this one either, just at the outset, because not Phil Johnson, how could I have said such a thing? Phil Vischer. Phil Vischer has been known to spin a yarn or two, so let's see what this is all about, but I'm inclined to not believe it just because of who's saying it to me. That's right, baby. I'm not trying to judge ahead of time, but that's just sometimes when liars can talk, you just assume they're gonna lie. I don't know how this works. This guy down here looks like Billy Corgan. You guys think so? He looks like a wannabe Billy Corgan, which I like Billy Corgan, so this kind of makes me happy to see him here. But yeah, this guy, I guess this guy's name is Sky. What a weird name. I don't even know. Let's just continue.
Standing outside the glass of the radio studio while James Dobson was doing his radio show the morning after Obama won the White House.
Oh, that's hilarious,
And
Phil.
he said a couple
that is
of things.
hilarious. Obama won the White House. We all know in hindsight that he probably didn't win. It was probably just Dominion 1.0, the beta version of Dominion.
That kind of stunned
Dominion voting was probably another company back in the day. I don't know.
me. One was that the shock of Obama winning was like getting struck with a hammer in the back of his head. The second one was something to the effect of, and America just isn't going to look like us anymore.
Wow.
Look at this lady's face. She looks so disgusted. I believe the story, actually, because I don't really see what's wrong with that. I believe this. I think this actually happened, but obviously, you have to assume a lot. If that's all he said, you have to assume a lot to mean that he meant anything race related. I think this guy knows it. This guy's over here. He's like, yeah, this is a terrible story, Phil. This lady's like, wow, she's clutching her pearls big time. And then Billy Corgan over here, yeah, he just looks dead. But who knows?
Oh, this is.
Oh, he was saying the quiet part out loud.
He doesn't sound like Billy Corgan, unfortunately. He's saying that this guy knows this is a terrible story. This lady's shocked. This guy's trying to help his friend Phil out. That story is a big nothing. I don't think he meant that at all. I believe it. So Woke Preacher Clips, he has a video and he puts out the fantastical unverified stories of shocking racism, and I'd say about half the stories likely happened. Now, the problem, though, again, is like I said in the beginning, don't put this voodoo on all of us. I mean, if somebody said something racist, that's fine. Confront them. Don't put that on me. Anyway. I don't know if this is fun or helpful or not, but I sure had a good time doing it. I hope you found this entertaining. I hope you found it smooth. God bless.